Have you ever been in a situation where you had to craft a speech or give a speech and you're completely unprepared? It's terrifying, isn't it? Hi, I'm style attorney. I'm a criminal lawyer that practices in London, Ontario, and I've addressed juries many times. Sometimes I've had to pop into court for people who were completely unprepared and needed a lawyer at the last minute, and I had to make things happen. So I want to give you some tips that I like to use when I'm invited or I'm tapped on the shoulder to give a speech or I need to show up and say something and ensure it makes sense. So there's something that I like to use. It's called the rule of threes. Okay. So when you give a speech, you want to remember 3, 3, 3. The first thing is that a speech has 3 parts. You have your introduction, you have your body, and you have your conclusion. So that's the first 3. Introduction, body, and conclusion. And with an intro, I'll tell you very quickly, a really good way to start an intro if you're not ready is just to ask a question. Imagine being dropped off in the forest. Imagine if you lived the life of a slug. Imagine whatever. And the reason why that's great is because it instantly captivates your audience and it creates some sort of tension or suspense. So you start your introduction and then you tell them what you're going to say. So at the end of the introduction, you'll say something like, today I'm going to give you a way to give a speech even though you're unprepared. I'm going to give you 3 pointers today that will assist you if you're ever tapped on the shoulder to give a speech when you're not ready. So now they know what to expect. And then you lay out your format. Today, I'm going to talk about the intro, the body, and the conclusion. So the 3 points then have 3 subpoints. And this helps you when you're trying to remember, because it's really hard to commit a speech to memory. But if you have 3 points, so the 3 points will be, let's say I'm giving a speech on trees. The 3 points will be roots, trunks, and the canopy. And then within the 3 points, you could have 3 subpoints. And you could often use acronyms to remember this, right? So root, trunk, canopy. If you're trying to remember all this, you'll be like RTC, right? Or CRT or whatever. So roots, trunk, canopy, that is your outline for your speech. And then under your roots, you'll have 3 points about the roots. And you could also employ an acronym to remember that. So if I want to talk about the roots, what do the roots do? They absorb nutrients, they store root nutrients, and they create a foundation for the tree. So those are the 3 points for my tree. And then the trunk, I might want to talk about the 3 parts of a trunk. And inside the trunk, you have your heartwood, you have your sapwood, and you have the bark. And then insofar as the canopy is concerned, I could do the same with like the leaves, the branches, and maybe the twigs or the buds or the seeds or whatever. Just limit it to 3. So now you've kind of crafted your speech, and then you could have the 3 subpoints and the things that you remember from there. At the end of your speech, at the beginning, you tell them what you're going to tell them. And then in the body, you tell them what you have told them. And then at the very end, you tell them that you've told them what you've told them. So a speech is this way. Tell people what you're going to say. Once you've told them what you're going to say, tell them what you said you were going to say. And at the end, tell them that you've told them what you've said you're going to say. So at the end of your speech, you end by saying something like, so I've informed you about the 3 parts of a tree: the trunk, the canopy, and the roots. Remember always that the roots are the foundation, the trunk is what gives you the heartwood and the sapwood, and the canopy is what shields you from the shade through the branches, the leaves, and the seeds that you use to produce more trees. Next time you walk through the forest, remember that you're dealing with a very complex organism or some sort of exhortation or challenge, and then it ends there. So this is my turn to do that exact same thing that I said. The rules of 3. When you're crafting a speech and you're completely unprepared and you don't know what you're going to say, employ the rules of 3. It's a very easy way to commit things to memory. Don't forget to employ acronyms in doing that. It helps you remember things. So always tell people what you're going to say, then tell them what you're going to say, and tell them that you've told them. I hope this has been helpful and enriching. If you have any tips or questions or suggestions about public speaking, I'd love to hear them, and maybe share a time when you were tapped to give a speech completely unprepared and how that went. Thanks for watching.